Okay, this video is on how to cook the perfect steak. First thing you want to start off with, a few ingredients. You're going to need to have some vegetable oil. Now, notice I did not say olive oil. I said vegetable oil. Reason being is to cook the steak safely this way, it's better to use vegetable oil because it's got a much higher smoking temperature. Olive oil has a lower smoking temperature and lets off a lot more hydrocarbons at a higher temperature than vegetable oil. Therefore, it makes, not only can cause a burnt flavor to your steak, but it can also be carcinogenic. You're going to need, what I use are ribeyes. I got some nice big ribeyes here. Of course, most important ingredient, good beer. You're going to need some fresh chopped garlic, and you're going to need some thyme. And then, of course, it helps to have a badass grill like this one right here. Big green eggs work great. I suppose you could do this inside on your stove, but it's going to make your house stink. So I do it outside, and the most important thing about doing it outside is that in this grill, the temperature is much more evenly distributed as opposed to just being underneath the pan. It's also on top of the pan. You notice I've got this at roughly 550 degrees. This grill, that thermometer is a little bit off, so it's probably closer to 6. I could crank this thing all the way up to 1,500 degrees if I wanted to. However, by not cranking it up that high and keeping it around 500, it gives you a chance to cook your steak a little better without charring it as much. Now, granted, I like the crispiness and the char, but I don't like it burnt. And if you have it at like 1,200 degrees, the second your steak hits that hot skillet, you're going to be on the verge of burning your steak, so you got to be flipping it a lot more often. Next, I'm going to go over the way to prep the steaks. Real basic. First thing I do is I like to sprinkle both sides of the steaks with garlic salt, not garlic powder. I do a generous helping, not over the top garlic salt, but I do a nice with garlic salt, and then a lot of black pepper. I like a lot of black pepper. I do that on both sides, and then I let these things sit for about an hour to let that salt permeate. Now, there are some different modes of thought on how salt actions on meat work. Some people say that if you're going to salt your meat first, then you need to cook it within 30 minutes because otherwise the salt's going to dry your steak out. Other people say if you're going to salt your meat first, then you need to let it sit at least 3 or 4 hours to give it a chance. So I'm more on the side of the first train of thought, like salt it. Don't let the salt sit on there for more than an hour. Is really probably longer than you need to do, and this has been on there an hour, so it's not going to dry the steak out. But I would say within 30 minutes of salting, let your steaks sit out, let them get to room temperature, then salt them, pepper them, and then let them sit no more than 30 minutes before you put them on the grill. Last but not least, you're going to need an iron skillet. Now, again, this has been on the grill for about 10 minutes, so it's pretty hot at this point. What I'm going to do is open up the vegetable oil, the lid down here, and I'm going to get some pinches of thyme. Well, I guess I've got plenty of time. Actually, I don't need to. No pun intended. Just pull it where I can get to it easily. Get some sprigs. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. Obviously, you want to be careful opening up a grill like this because they have a tendency to burp. And there she is. And she's been on there for a while. She's nice and hot. I'm going to hit it with that vegetable oil. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to set the camera down. I'm going to pinch my thyme. Put my garlic in there. And time to drop the steaks. Boom. Just going to do one at a time at the moment. Now once your steak is on there, just start getting it in all that goodness. Just moving around a lot, sorry. Get that thyme. Just move it around, let it get in all that oil, get those juices. It's already smelling ridiculous. Unfortunately, you can't smell this, but if you could, you would be very jealous. Just move it around a lot. Now you'll see that garlic that's on there, it's going to burn. That's all right. That burnt garlic's not going to hurt anybody. You want to try to get the fat of the steak up against the edges of the hot skillet. That fat will actually render down when it's on the edges of the skillet, and it'll become its own cookie. So I'm going to close it up for a minute. Just going to let it sit there and do its thing for about a minute. I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to come back here in a second when it's time to take it back off.